Hello there. You're listening to Shay's Bills podcast. And here's your host, Shilano.
Well, hello everyone, and it has been a while. I'm sorry I haven't been really around to make any podcast episodes due to work, and well, I haven't been feeling well. Unfortunately, I have been having a lot of dental problems with my teeth. Precisely, I have a wisdom tooth that is very sore, and I had my first cold in the season, so that had affected me. On top of that, it is affecting my wisdom tooth a lot more, which it's okay. I've organized to get my wisdom tooth removed, but that's not till February, so I'm I'm going to be suffering for a while, but that's okay. But I have been listening to podcasts. I have been trying to figure out what to do with the podcast and what stories and all that. And I had been on Instagram, and I said that I'm going to concentrate on true crime and sports. So they are going to be the two main topics on the podcast. And with this episode, it is finally, I know it's been a while, it's nearly 3 months since the World Cup, but I got to finishing writing the episode of the post-Women's World Cup thoughts. And if you don't know what's happened with the World Cup and with all the matches, and I'm going to update you with everything. And of course, what we all know, well aware, because it was all over the media and on the main news, what's happened with Spain and that man we all know and hate, and well, I despise anyway. But we're going to talk about the football and all of that right now. Let's get into it. Well, another successful FIFA Women's World Cup, with so many new milestones made by different countries and players throughout the tournament, a significant controversial ending to the victorious World Cup final. We will spill more tea on that later, but let's crack on the first games. Throughout July and August, I was lucky to get to hear the games while working away in the mornings, keeping me going through very busy mornings in the kitchen, listening to the commentary, which I'm so glad. But I will have to say, RT's Stephanie Roach was my highlight on the commentary. I was listening to RT Player majority of the time, because that was the only area and network I could watch the World Cup, because, of course, the World Cup was in Australia. Of course, she is a former player of the Republic of Ireland and has a better idea of players compared to her co-commentator, which I didn't feel like they didn't know their research on any team until they were playing the game, which was disappointing. But to the group games, we have Group A. The opening game was New Zealand versus Norway, gave the groundbreaking win for the co-host Wilkinson, scoring 48 minutes in the game, with attendance of 42,137 people at that game. And then the second game, which was Switzerland, came out strong with a 2-0 against the World Cup debutants, the Philippines. But not to worry, the Philippines put their name in the history books for scoring their first World Cup goal against New Zealand on the 25th of July by Bowden, despite Philippines getting knocked out by Norway with a heavy score of a 6-0. I was surprised by Norway's performance. They did only well in the scoreboard, but with the only game against Philippines, any other game they did play, they did not score. But the game, well, no, they gave the safe passage along with Switzerland to the group stages. So that was Switzerland and Norway qualifying. Unfortunately, New Zealand and Philippines didn't. Group B, this was the one I've been watching for. It was Australia, Nigeria, Canada, and of course the Republic of Ireland. A lot of people were saying Group B was the group of death. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess it was, really. When we saw the lineup, we were like, oh shit. I and the rest of the country of Ireland were glued to our screens watching the Ireland games in Group B, hoping Ireland would get as far as they could in the group stages, as we prayed for them, lighting candles in the churches and saying silent prayers, but unfortunately with a 1-0 loss in the opening game against Australia, while a penalty taken by Arsenal player Steph Caitlin, as we know, this was the only match I missed from the Ireland games, as I was away in London at the time watching my phone for the scoreboard in Emirates Stadium in Arsenal, as if anyone doesn't know, I'm an Arsenal Gooner fan, and I got to go to Emirates, and I was keeping an eye. It was the only day I missed the World Cup matches. We were watching them when we were on the trip in the morning before we headed out. Then goalless with Nigeria until meeting Canada. But when it came to Ireland versus Canada, this game for me was the most disappointing game in the Irish point of view. Canada was not playing in top form. I really didn't think they were great. And even though Kaden McCabe got our first ever goal in the tournament with a classy goal from the corner going straight in the back of the net, like it was chef's kiss, it did not stop Canada getting a own goal from Megan Conley and a goal from the United player Andrea Leon. But Australia stopped Canada from proceeding into the group stages, so I was happy with that. An incredible 4-0, and Ireland defended very well against Nigeria in a 0-0 match, but it wasn't enough to get through the group stages. We talk a bit more about the Irish national team later. Group C, it was Japan, Spain, Zambia, Costa Rica. Spain came in hard and told the world we ain't messing about winning their winning game against Costa Rica with a 3-0. Japan also did the same, defeating Zambia with a 5-0. Again, Spain did same, poor Zambia with 5-0. Japan and Costa Rica, but surprisingly Japan won their game against Spain 4-0, ending up on the top of the Group C with 9 points, also having an impressive 11 goals. Spain and Japan qualified in the group stages. Group D was England, Denmark and China and Haiti. England was strong favourites in the tournament and proved it with their opening game against Haiti 1-0, with Georgia Stanway scoring in the penalty, but Lauren James giving them a cracker of a goal against Denmark. James proved it when she had some classy skills on the pitch, for sure, to get some goals for England, with England gaining 8 points in their group stages. Denmark came through in the second country to qualify with their win against the Chinese team, and Haiti. Unfortunately, Haiti didn't get any goals in the World Cup this time. Group E was Netherlands, USA, Portugal and Vietnam. With the opening game with the 3-time World Cup champions USA with an easy win against Vietnam, it was 3-0. Netherlands came against Portugal with 1-0. Portugal didn't get any of their first 2 goals against Vietnam. They did get their first goals against Vietnam, but Vietnam didn't get any chance to breathe in these group stages at all. They just got defeated. But the Dutch former Euro winners did knock them out with a 7-0. Ouch. With USA and Netherlands proceeding to the group of 16. Group F was France, Jamaica and Brazil, and here we go, the country I can never pronounce, Panama. Yep, I can't pronounce them, but I'm going to say this. The entire public were rooting for Jamaica. It was their first taste of the tournament, getting their first goal by a Swabby. France came out strongly in the group, of course, with the stages with 7 points among 8 goals. Debut team Panama, with their impressive captain Cox getting their first goals against France in a 3-6. And Cox striking a strikingly brilliant goal. Oh, if you saw it, was just incredible. A major shock was Brazil did not qualify for the stages and getting knocked out by Jamaica, ending the legend Marta's World Cup career at an end. Group G, we're nearly there. There's one more group after this. There's quite a few groups, I know. This is the biggest we've had. Sweden, South Africa, Italy and Argentina. Italy came out well this year compared to last year's Euro, may I say. I was a bit surprised. In their first game against Argentina, Sweden looked very impressive, no doubt there, of course. They're one of the top 10 teams out there in the women's, beating Italy 5-0, and South Africa looking well as qualified for the group 16. Sweden came one of the favourites to win the tournament. Following, and finally, Group H, which had Colombia, Morocco, Germany and South Korea. Germany came in strong once again with a strong 6-0 against Morocco with their debut, among Colombia winning their match against South Korea. Monaco gaining their first goal against the Koreans. The Colombians won against the Germans. Yep, you heard that. Germany lost a match. But Morocco was scoring their final goal to knock Germany out. No, what did I just say there? Did I just say to Morocco? Oops, I didn't mean that. I'm dyslexic. I'm sorry, guys. I meant Morocco gaining their first goal against Korea. The Colombians won their match against Germans. Morocco scoring their goal in the last game to knock out Germany, which made history for the two countries for the biggest. Brazil and Germany were knocked out in the group stages. Yep. Imagine that. The big drop. Mic drop. So, of course, I'm going to quickly dabble into the teams. So, what I thought about them, each group. Nigeria were very good. I have to say, Nigeria were really, really strong this year. And, despite them playing against Ireland, they were the better team. I think we were just very proud that Ireland were in the World Cup, and to be fair, we got our first goal, which we're very happy about. I did not like the performance against Canada. Canada didn't. I wasn't happy with Canada, really. I don't know. It's just whatever. Canada hadn't been performing well anyway. And Australia, of course, it was massive pressure. Australia was hosting with New Zealand, and the amount of hype for them was incredible. And with Sam Kerr. Denmark, Group D, I kind of forgotten about. The only reason we know about them was England, and Group C was about Spain. Japan did really well, but they didn't really perform very well at the end. And you'll see why in the Group 16. But yeah, it was a massive shocker. So the Group 16 was Spain versus Switzerland. It was 5-1. Netherlands versus South Africa was 2-0. Japan versus Norway was 3-1. Sweden and USA was 0-0. This one was the longest one of my life, lads. Yep, because of penalties. The penalties, good. It was 5-4, and it was the longest penalties. I swear, I thought it was the longest ones of my life. But there was quite a few penalties in this World Cup. Even in the groups pools, there was quite a few. I think there was 8 penalties in the first 8 games. Insane. Then we have, where are we? We have Japan versus Norway was 3-1, I said, yes. So Australia versus Denmark, it was 2-0. France versus Morocco was 4-0. England versus Nigeria was 0-0, and it went to extra time, and it went to penalties. Yep, I don't like penalties anymore after this. I swear to you guys, these penalties thing after the World Cup, it's given me I'm traumatized from them. They're too daunting. It was 4-2. Colombia versus Jamaica was 1-0. During the Group 16, of course, I couldn't sit down to all of them, but I did hear them, of course. I swear my co-workers must have hated me because I used the speaker to listen to the commentary. And people were like, what are you listening? And I'm like, I'm listening to the World Cup. Of course, the quarterfinals, Spain versus Netherlands, it was 2-1. Japan versus Sweden, 2-1 as well. Australia versus France, this is another one, because guess what? It was another penalties. And this was the longest one, I believe. It was almost about 30 minutes, these penalties, because they kept scoring or saving. It turned out to be very close. It was 7-6. And then it was England versus Colombia, 2-1. Now the finals. Whew. Give me a break, 1 minute. Oh, right, the final. We all were hyped about this. But for that, we had the semi-finals. Why did I say the final? I don't know. My brain's a bit frazzled. I think it is. Spain versus Sweden. It was 2-1. Sweden had proven a very successful lead-up in the games with a very strong performance, which led them to the semi-finals. But so did Spain. We all know that. But all the goals and scoring didn't happen until the very end of the second half. Yep, we had a long game to get through. Yep. With the goal coming from Spain, I'm going to pronounce this brutally. I do apologise. 81 minutes in the game. Pararula from Spain, I'm sorry. Followed by an equaliser from Swedish player. I'm going to brutally mispronounce really. Palovisk in the 88th minute. Just a minute later, Spain's Salma Pararullo. Sorry, I'm really bad. This is the one thing I can't do. Age 19, 275 days, has become the second youngest player in the score in a FIFA Women's World Cup semi-final match against Canada. Cara Lang, who was 16, 348 days, which was led against Sweden in 2003, which meant Spain was in the final. Australia versus England. Now, this when it comes to the semi-finals, it was a big deal because it was two teams. Australia, who were the hosts, wanted to be there. The hype of Australia and all the pressure was on them. They could feel it. They knew it. They had to do this. But unfortunately it didn't happen because it was 3 goals for England, 1 for Australia. And it was because the first half, Manchester United's Ella Toone scored the first goal in 36 minutes, giving England the lead. But this gave Australia massive pressure on their shoulders to equalise in the second half, right? Which paid off by Sam Kerr, who hadn't played in the World Cup until Denmark's group stages because she missed the opening game with a calf injury, scoring straight in the second half. But it came to bloody disheartening for them because the hope they had was quickly taken after 8 minutes when Lauren Hebb from Manchester City scored the following goal. Then they didn't stop. Arsenal's now player Alessia Russo ended the Aussies' journey with a third goal in the 86 minutes. Despite the loss, they were with the incredible journey they've had and encouragement and the major support of the whole country. There was such a buzz for them, having a massive acceptance of women's football in their country, encouraging many young girls starting to play and investing into women's football. A post-match quote from Katrina Gorry from Australia said, quote, "That's football. We created a lot of chances and we put a lot of pressure on them. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net and they did. It sucks. It feels like you let yourself down. You know you let your nation down. I know we have the support of everyone and we will come out again for the next against Sweden." And that was for the 3rd place. And unfortunately because of that, 3rd place went to Sweden. Australia lost that match as well. To another semi-final match, it was Spain versus England. Oh wait, no, that's the final. Oh, sorry, I read my thing wrong. Whoops. The final was England and Spain, the big final. There was me, Sunday morning, working, of course. After a busy breakfast service, from lunch on my break, watching the game, listening to it. Now, there was a lot of complaints already beforehand because there was now representatives of each country. Spain and England supposed to be there, right? Spain had their royal family. Queen Letizia travelled with her daughter Princess Sophia, who is a teenager at the time, a major fan of football and team, who's also an aspiring midfielder. Who knew? But, of course, no one from England came over. Twats. For that, because Prince William said he could not travel to watch England due to the citizen of carbon footprint which would be generated. I smell bullshit on that because if it was your holiday, you would totally go to Australia, wouldn't you? But yeah, you wouldn't support your own team. And you're the president of the FA, so imaginary thumbs up for me, sarcastically, by the way. So the game started intensely, with Spain being patient. The first shot of the game was in the 5th minute from England forward Lauren Hemp, shooting straight at Spain's goalkeeper. Wow, today my dyslexia has been really off. I do apologise. What's wrong with me? Goalkeeper Katia Cole. Really terrible pronunciation. I need to do better. I'm sorry. After England midfielder Kira Walsh was fouled by Salma Pararillo. I'm not Spanish. I need... attempting to dispossess her. The England team created their best chance of the match with Hemp having a clear shot on the goal in the 16th minute, but striking the crossbar. Oh, my heart. I can just hear it. When England's right wing back Lucy Bronze attempted a dribble through the midfield, Spanish players disposed her with the ball and it was sent to Carmona, who took it the tight angled low shot past Mary Earps, the goalkeeper, into the right corner of the net, scoring the only goal of the match in the 29th minute. In the second half, England's confidence waned down and Spain was bolstered when Walsh conceded a penalty for accidentally handball in the box, with defending a corner in the 65th minute. After a lengthy VAR review, yes, we finally got VAR. Spain forward Jenny Hermoso took the penalty in the 17th minute with the shot saved by Earps. By the way, Earps' celebration after that was, it was like, come on, I got this. I just saved the goal. I'm boss. It was Spain defending, and England's desperation tried to get their utmost best and defended well. Jess Carter denying Hermoso with another goal. Then it came to an end at 104th minute, which the ref called, and then that meant Spain won their first World Cup in history. Then and all, with this major achievement for Spain, instantly swiped to the side due to the big incident we've all talked about, which was the kiss. Yeah, that kiss we're going to talk about. Now, if you don't know about the kiss, right, I have to sit up for this. Right. So, during the medal ceremony, the RFEF, which is the Spanish Federation Football Association, Luis Rubiales kissed Jennifer Hermoso on the lips. Despite her visible displeasure, the action drew criticism, particularly towards the continued sexism in the sport, and I'm going to call him Luis because I can't say his surname every time, Luis, to resign. In the separate incident at the end of the match, Luis was filmed pointing to the Spain players before grabbing his crotch with the OBS. That's absolutely vile. Yeah. After Hermoso said she did not expect the kiss, Luis entered the dressing room, reportedly throwing his arms around Hermoso and joking about marrying her in Ibiza. What the fuck? Yep. And further criticizing because he was standing next to the teenager Princess Sofia when he was doing these actions with his crotch. Wow. No. Luis faced heavy criticism for his actions and called for him to resign again. Came from many players, as well as the government. He and Valida, who is the coach of the Spain national team, tried to make Hermoso support Luis, issuing a fake statement which she would not. Hermoso issued a statement through her union, which is Foot Pro, which a union said the case was unacceptable and they were working on seeing it being punished. Now, the RFEF called an extraordinary general meeting on August 25th. Sport journalists quickly denounced Luis' behaviour, and El Contradelas Alberto Ortigo also noted that Luis took the trophy off the players to celebrate with it, and soon after his response with the Daily Mirror, Colin Millar said Luis attempts to excuse and normalise his behaviour with further troubling. Having initially described his critics as idiots, dickheads and losers, and initially calling the incident an unimportant gesture of affection on a Spanish radio show just before leaving Australia. Now, Luis apparently ended, published an apology video on August 21st, recorded when the delegation was on a layover returning from Australia. He in the video he described the kiss was spontaneous and said that he had no bad intentions and was sorry for distracting the celebrations. I have apologized to learn from this and understand that where you are president, you should be more careful. Do you mean? This might talk about this. Do you mean that you got caught, or you fucked up? Because like honestly, it's all and above. Like you got caught, and it was on national television on FIFA. It was streamed over. I think, if I remember, 8 million people were watching, maybe more. Yeah. Including that, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said that Luiz's behaviour was unacceptable. An apology was not equated for, let alone a significant saying. The players did not win, but Luiz's behaviour shows that there is still a long way to go for equality. Labour Minister and secondary Deputy Prime Minister Loanda Diaz called Luiz to resign, and it was revealed on the 22nd of August that Luiz had begged Hermoso to appear in an apology video, and the manager Jorge Lavida unsuccessfully asked Hermoso's family several times to encourage her to support Luiz. Absolutely fucking shocking, that is. Absolutely. On the 24th of August, the FIFA disciplinary committee opened disciplinary proceedings against Luiz. So, Luiz had brought up his 3 daughters. He's a father of 3 daughters. To the RFE assembly, he pointed them out during his speech delivered to them, saying, "You, the daughters, have a difference between truth and lies. I, Luiz, tell the truth." He also addressed La Vida, saying that he would offer him a new 4-year contract worth €2 million. Another point Luiz repeated, saying, "I'm not going to resign," 5 times, compared to "I'm not leaving" speech from The Wolf of Wall Street. In the speech, he referred to kiss instead as a peck, also saying it was euphoric. He spent more time storytelling his versions of events from the final, claiming that I had all conversation with Hermosa, received her consent, though he continued to describe the kiss as spontaneous. Other topics he prosecuted about speech were in a rise where he called fake feminism and how he saw it as a scourge of society, and the imprudence of the Spanish government, said he would sue several ministers. In a response to the speech, 2 Spanish national team players, Real Betis players Hector Bellerin, who also used to play for Arsenal, by the way, just saying, Borjan Iglesias, I'm so sorry, publicly denounced Luiz on social media, with the latter of refusing to play for Spain until Luiz resigned. 2 former Spain national goalkeepers, David De Gea, who also is a massive women's supporter, especially with Manchester United, he supports them very much, just saying, and 2010 World Cup winner Elker Caldez also criticised Luiz's speech on Twitter. Now, the first female football player to respond to the speech was, of course, the legend, the iconic woman, Alexia Putellas, saying that Spain's most capped women's international and most decorated individual women's footballer in the world. She tweeted this: "It is unacceptable. It's over with you." Teammate Jenny Hermoso. This was followed by an influx of similar impressions on social media from women's footballers all over the world. Later that day, 81 players, including all 23 from the women's national winning team, released a joint statement to boycott the national team until the RFEF changed their leadership. On the 2nd of September, Sanchez praised the team for the boycott, saying that they have won twice. First the World Cup, and then giving them the world lesson in equality. Hermoso followed up a joint statement on August 25th. That doesn't sound right, does that? August 25th. Oh, it must have been similar, but the same statement. Okay. Saying that Hermoso opened a joint. Sorry, I'm reading this all wrong. A full statement person that day, accounting her experience in the incident as well as mentioning previous and ongoing abuses in the environment of the national squad, which we were all well aware before this incident happened. They were talking, so basically, before the World Cup started, they had mentioned the team, a couple of players had refused to play for the national team, including Mappy Leon, who was one of the best players in Barcelona. Her and several, I think 7 to 8 other players had refused to play for the national team because of management reasons and because of the head coach. And if you were watching any of the games during the World Cup with Spain, you saw that they weren't interacting with the manager until they got in the semi-final. That was the first time. They've ignored him and the coaching team because of whatever incident. We don't really know what's behind the scenes, but it wasn't going good. On August 26, 2 days after the commencing of their investigation, FIFA suspended Luiz until November 24, which is literally next month. I'm recording this in October. I'm sorry. On the 10th of September, a preview clip for the British talk show Piers Morgan Uncensored was released, with Luiz being interviewed by the broadcaster Morgan. In it, Luiz said that he offered his resignation to the RFEF. Shortly after the clip, Luiz shared a statement saying that he had resigned from his position, including UEFA, because he was also involved with that, and there's some allegations on that too. But here's the most crazy thing. So during all this, right, his mother got involved with this, right? So, because his mother believes that he's innocent and all that, right? And is called out. Hermosa is shocking and saying she's spreading lies and all this, right? Do you know what she did? She went to her local church in Montreal after service and announced she's going on a hunger strike. Yeah, she did that, saying that it was an inhumane and bloody thirsty hunt against her son. She then persistently defended her son as a decent person and saying he was treated unfairly. Well, his paternal uncle and former chief staff, Ewan Rebels, told Spanish media that Luiz, needs a social re-education program and a re-education in his relationship with women. Yeah, that's what he said. So it's 50-50 on each of his side, isn't it? They don't really like him. He's not a very popular man in his family either, is it? The prosecution ministry in Spain opened a preliminary investigation on whether Luiz's actions is constituted with sexual assault on the 28th of August, including offering Hermosa the opportunity to make a formal complaint. She did this on the 6th of September, and on the 8th of September, the prosecutors have now presented a criminal complaint to the National Court, asking for an investigation charges of the sexual assault and cruelty. It's also asked for information to be gathered from the Australian authorities. What makes this worse is, American director, Woody Allen has given his support to Luiz, saying this, yet, and Allen has been accused for sexual abuse of course, another man being in a similar situation has got his back. Insert eye roll emoji. Yes, this is the thing with the World Cup. You know, we love the World Cup. We're here for football, but FIFA is corrupted. We all know that, and it's just a sport that we all love. It's corrupted in so many things, and especially with women's football, we're trying to encourage it. We're trying to make it safe. It is safer. It's far more safer than the men's. I really say that. I don't go to any of the men's football games anymore because it's rough and the lads are fighting and drinking and they're shouting homophobic chants and just it's not a good vibe. While the women's is more safe and people can actually bring their families and it's just all supportive bubble. I really enjoyed the World Cup, but this really did. I felt like the Spanish team couldn't really celebrate it much, truly, and it's upsetting, I think, for a lot of people. And I really wish it didn't happen, but it did. But maybe in a way this will give the teams and finally maybe more better acceptance that we can finally sort these problems that we've been listening to all this time. On top of that, really, the World Cup, like, United States didn't win the World Cup, which is a big deal. I personally, if anyone has seen me, I have 2 jerseys of United States. One in 2015 where they won it, and 2019. And from 2019 to now, really, I haven't really supported the United States, due to I just didn't feel like they were performing as well. On top of that, a lot of veterans that I loved and supported have retired, and it's only a very few of them left. Megan Rapone, of course, was the hero in the 2019 World Cup, and personally, I'm just going to say I didn't like her, and I still don't like her. She declined a lot in this year, the World Cup. She did announce she's retiring. And yeah, they didn't do as good. They didn't qualify for semis, quarters, semis, and final, and all that. So I think they were just surprised about that. Every team in this World Cup has really made a massive statement in the smallest ways for their countries. Like when I was in London, I never seen so many Jamaican jerseys on sale. I went to Adidas and I went to Nike, and they had put on, in fairness, they had to put on a lot of stuff, of a lot of jerseys, and a lot of the women's footballers up and about supporting about the Women's World Cup, which was great. I did buy Germany's jersey. I did. I really like the. You know what? Adidas did a really good. had a really good pick of jerseys this year made. It was all kind of teamed with the environment and climates of the countries. I really wanted to get Japan's, and I didn't get it. I'm hoping. I'm just gonna have a look when I'm doing this. I'm gonna check if it's still available, because honestly, it's a gorgeous color. It is a lavender purple with pink, and it's inspired by the sunset, I believe. I think it's sunset or sunrise. Sunrise in Japan, which was really, really beautiful, but it was like very expensive. It's €90. It was 80 or 90. Yeah. But really, they still have it, but it's, crikey, it's €83, and that's extra small. 84. That's still expensive, Adidas. I love it, but I don't think I have enough jerseys. Yes, but yeah, we're now going to be into the WSL. There's a football league, fantasy football league there too. If you want to try it, I'll put the link below that you can sign up to it. Didn't do great this week, if I'm honest, in it. I did very well previous week with my highest score. The people in my team I had managed to put in were a couple more Chelsea players, and they weren't playing today last weekend, so I'm a bit disappointed, and I only got 35 points. So yeah, bit shook, but anyway, we'll do better next week, I hope. But that is it for me with this podcast episode. I'm sorry I mispronounced things. You should know all now, I can't pronounce surnames, especially if they're foreign. I just can't. I don't know, it's something with dyslexia. Even when I try to say it, like break it down, I struggle. I'm sorry. But yeah, thanks for listening. I will be back soon. I'm thinking of doing a true crime episode that is actually on currently it's a live crime episode. Unfortunately, it was about someone that is from my county. They were counted as missing, and as in last 2 weeks, they had found their body, which is now bones, because they've been missing for a couple of years, and they have now arrested someone. So I might do that. But with that, thanks for listening. If you do want to listen out for any of my social media, it is Shays Bills Pod on Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to try to update more on there. I am also started watching Colleen Rooney's The Real Racketa Story. So I'm trying to get into that and figure what went wrong. What was the story about it? 'Cause it was such a big deal last year. I'm pretty sure it's now turned into a musical. They're playing the West End. It's that big of a thing. I know it's two footballer wives fighting, but I just wanted to know what's going on there. But yeah, if you want to listen to me as well, or follow me, I'm on Twitch as well streaming. I'm trying to get back into streaming now. I took a bit of a break because I was doing a coursework, which turned out great because I passed this week on the course I did during the summer, so I'm delighted. And now I need to figure out how to market myself a bit better, because I studied digital marketing. I'm still learning about it. It's hard. All these KPIs and kind of learning about the insights, because I've never really done that kind of stuff before. So it's a bit out of my box, but I'm willing to put more effort on learning into it. And I'm going to put myself to learn. I decided I kind of want to learn how to do sign language. For some reason, I've always thought it was interesting to learn, so I might try to give it a go. But I also said that and I wanted to learn how to speak Spanish, because there's a lot of people in my job that are Spanish, and they speak a lot of Spanish, and I'm trying to include myself, and I just say sí. But anyway, thank you for listening. I will see you all very soon. Hope you all mind yourselves, and take care, and I will see you all then. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Shay's Podcast. Make sure to follow Shay Spills Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Shay Spills Pod and Shay Spills Podcast. And check out Chilano on her socials at Chilano.